Rob. What do you think about the Dallas Card Show?
Oh man, it's, cards are sliding a little bit, but this show makes you kind of think that maybe that's not quite as bad. I mean, the card market over the last 20 years, I've seen the card market take about 5 dips, maybe the start of the next one. The economy as a whole is a little rough, so it's not crazy to think that a hobby is going to slip a little bit, but there's so much money in this hobby now that it can't go too far. I think it might be close to there anyway. Basketball playoffs are going to pick things up. Then you get into baseball playoffs. Then you get football started with a good rookie class. Everything should be all right. Not one of the type of people that's like just doom and gloom about it. Definitely there's people losing money right now, but there's people making money if you know what you're doing.
Especially this show, people are saying, Jameel, some other sellers are saying that people are selling, but no one's buying.
Right.
Like, what's the reason why you think now?
I think the general public is selling because they might have bought into the stuff they shouldn't have bought at an exorbitant price. But it's not really high end, I don't think. I think high end is pretty, not sure. I heard some people grumbling about gold and what happened last night on gold, and obviously that's not Golden's fault, but it's the market trends. Grumbling about a few prices being a little bit less than they thought, but you're talking about millions of dollar cards. You're not talking about like $1,000 cards or whatever. It's definitely a market trending downward, but I mean, with how PSA's coming back with everybody's subs from a 3-month period of last year where everybody was subbing everything. It was cheap to sub. There's an influx of that, obviously, that's pushing the market down. There's just way too much saturation of that hitting eBay and shows and whatnot. But as a whole, you think about those type of things, you put them all together, I guess you'd say, and that's probably what's causing it. Definitely just the American economy market is starting to struggle. I mean, it really is going to struggle probably for a little while. That's just how it is.
It should bounce back.
Yeah. It'll definitely bounce back. We might be talking about it a few years.
Right.
But this is pretty normal. To anybody that's just been in this for the last 2 or 3 years, this is like, oh my gosh, I'm terrified. If you've been doing it the last couple of years, you have to learn that there's always a bottom. There's another bottom. You just have to realize what you think it's going to be and try to be ahead of it.
Right. It's always a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's definitely
always.
This industry's always been a roller coaster. I mean, for sure. It's like gold and silver, stocks, whatever.
Right.
It trends down, trends back up, trends down, but it always finds a higher point on the next trend up. So, and that's encouraging for 2, 3, 4 years from now, whenever it is, it jumps back up again. I mean, you never know. I mean, obviously, you just ride the currents. For somebody like me and Jameel, hundreds of other guys that make a pretty steady living at this, We're not afraid at all. Are we nervous about, having some cards that are gonna go down? Of course, but that's part of the game. You just move stuff. Sometimes you have to take a loss. It's all right, especially for a young guy. You learn by losing money. You really do.
You see a lot of kids, especially at this show. There's a lot of kids here, a lot of money involved. Some of them really want to take the win and these prices, but for the veterans of you guys, you're trying to sell. Let's say you're selling something, but they're not budging at all. But then you're giving different things.
Obviously older card guys. And I hate to say older card guys. Definitely am OG now. You try not to take too many L's, and when you see an L coming, you just go ahead and move it, even if it's a little bit of one. You take the wins really fast, and I think a lot of the kids kind of just think the win's going to go up instead of taking the money and run. You look at like we were just talking about, a kid last night came up to me and asked about a certain card because he respects my opinion, he respects Jameel's opinion, he comes to us, and that's the type of kid that's going to make it. I mean, he's reading the numbers, he's reading the math of sports cards, because sports cards, it's math. It just is. It's literally, I don't know, algorithms and stuff like that. It sounds crazy probably to some people, but so much math involved in it. Like, some of the best people at cards are just math geniuses. It's just how it is. Being able to remember stuff. Came up, had a really great LeBron card, probably a huge card 10, 15, 20 years down the line, but he's 17 years old. Could he get X now? I mean, could he get 2 times as much in 20 years? Of course he could. But if you have $500 in a card that you can get $6,000 for, what can you do with $6,000 in 10 years?
Even bigger.
I mean, you just figure out the math on what you think the potential end game on the card is, at best, and you hope you're right. Sometimes you're not right. I mean, believe me, I've been not right on one of the best cards there is. But I made money that day. You sell a LeBron James Exquisite Gold rookie RPA to 23 for $2,200, and you move on. Just because it's $5 million today doesn't mean anything. It's $2 million, whatever, $5 million, whatever it is. It's just, you just move on. And you mean, once you make a big money mistake, like you think that's a big mistake. I mean, that was 18 years ago. How was I supposed to know? You make a move like that, you can't make a worse one. And then it pushes you into a place where it's impossible to take an L in your mind. Even if you do, it is what it is. You just have to watch the trends. The young guys are about to learn the hard way of how business really works.
Especially now it's down.
Yeah. This is when you make it or break it. It's not last year when you made, $50,000 at 20 years old, or $100,000. Some of these guys may be making multiple $100,000 at 20 years old. I know they are. You see them walking around with it, but that's not sustainable. You wait on the trends where it's like it was last year. I mean, cards aren't going anywhere.
Right.
I mean, cards are 130 years old. It's just not going anywhere,
Especially if the hobby is still strong.
I agree.
If you could give last a tip, especially for new investors or new card investors, and even just like the veterans, if you could give a tip now, like of what they should do or what they should consider, what's the best thing you could say?
I mean, I look at it like this. I look at it like, okay, on a downtrend, you buy the players you like. You buy the player that you think has got the best chance to be a Hall of Famer. And if you're sitting on it, you sit on it, buy a player you like, sit on it. You can't really lose if you love somebody, love a player. Yeah, you might make a couple of bad decisions. I kind of like to spread it around, maybe pick 2 or 3 players to kind of hang on to their stuff, pay super low. I mean, obviously you want to pay as low as you can. To the young guys, I'm not saying turn and burn every single card, but when you make money, reinvest it. Put money back, so when there is downturns like this, hopefully some of these cats that have made that much money put some money back. I've heard a few of them have, and me and Jameel have preached it to, I'd say 20, 30 kids are literally avidly coming to us and saying, hey, tell me what to do here, tell me what to do with taxes, tell me what to do with this. There's other things involved when you're 17 to 22 years old that you don't really know yet. Family, bills, kids, that kind of stuff you don't have in your brain yet. You have to be careful with cards because it's going to eventually affect those things. But the next trend, I mean, we might not have seen the bottom. The bottom might still be a year away. But then it'll start going back up, and even if that's the case, 3 years of low, you just learn how to make money at those numbers. But if you're just flipping, there's always ways to make money. That's basically it. For a young guy, there's always ways to make money. You just have to change your MO every so often. That's it. It's pretty easy.
Nice talk. Good deal. That's Rob. Good talk, Rob.
All right. Thanks, man.